he's going around with bad fundamentals trying to catch it with one hand. He did it.
Talk some NFL. One of the best matchups of the season taking place Thursday night on Fox. Rams in Seattle to face the Seahawks. Both teams sitting at 3-1 in the NFC West. Seahawks coming off a win, but they continue to leave Russell Wilson without big weapons around him. And the once mighty, mighty Rams didn't look so mighty last week in a bad loss to the Bucs. Chris Carter, the best team in the division right now, Rams or Seahawks?
I think roster, I would say the Rams have a better roster. As far as team and how it's going to play out,
yeah,
I think Seattle has the edge. I did not like what I saw last week. When you talk about the Rams and people might say, well, that's just Tampa Bay. Maybe that was just a bad week. Well, let's just go back even to last season. Not only the Super Bowl, where New England ran up and down the field on them. Last year, the Rams were able to get by, giving up more yards per carry than anyone in the league. And to me, that scares me, because people are going to find that out. And Wade Phillips, that is not the MO of one of his defenses. And without Ndamukong Suh, is Aaron Donald after coming off 20 sacks, but Ndamukong Suh was next to him. I'm concerned about them shoring up that defense. I'm concerned about Todd Gurley and that knee. I'm going to keep beating that drum that Todd Gurley is not healthy, and I doubt if we'll ever see the Todd Gurley that we've seen the last 2 years. So for me, Seattle, the way they're put together, the way Russell Wilson's playing, the way Pete Carroll coaches football, I believe in what they're going to do, even though I don't like them losing at home to Seattle, to Teddy Bridgewater.
To New Orleans.
Yeah, to New Orleans. I don't like that. But the fact of there's more positive things in Seattle and that defensive front that they're putting together. Clowney's now he's starting to make plays there at that defensive end. So Seattle, I would say, they got better energy right now than the Rams.
If momentum's a thing, they're feeling better.
I got that all Snoop. Snoop was on, he's talking about energy yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah. He did a great job on Undisputed, too. That was awesome. Listen, you don't give Seattle a pass for losing at home to New Orleans without Drew Brees, but if you watch the game, if you give up 2 non-offensive touchdowns, you're going to lose the game. Seattle gave up a punt return touchdown, gave up a defensive touchdown. Those things lead to upset victories, especially with a team as well coached as New Orleans and as quality personnel. New Orleans is not a one-man band now. Just because Drew Brees is out, they have shown the ability to compete week in, week out. They showed it this past week against Dallas. The reason I liked Seattle going into the year in this division is in the division, who has the best coach? I know everyone loves Sean McVay. I will still say Pete Carroll. In this division, who has the best quarterback? It is not a question. It is Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson right now, we talked about it yesterday, is playing the best football of his career, while Jared Goff is playing the worst football he's played since he was a Jeff Fisher product, you know, his rookie season. So you look at that, and then you say, which team has an identity? Seattle does. Now, sometimes the identity frustrates the hell out of me. They're going to run the football repeatedly, ask Russell to make magic on 3rd down, believe they're going to play strong defense. What is the Los Angeles Rams defense? Well, it can't be the Los Angeles Rams identity, pardon me. It can't be smash-mouth defense if you're giving up league-leading yards per carry over the last 20 games this last season to this season.
Yep.
It can't be your running game when your running back's damaged goods. And it can't be we're going to sling it all around the field when your quarterback leads the league in turnovers. So if you don't have an identity on either side of the ball, if your coach, I think, is still dealing with some of the blowback from what happened to him in the Super Bowl, and if the other team knows exactly who they are and who they're trying to be, the answer in my mind is clearly the Seattle Seahawks.
But isn't it so ironic that if you had to pick one team last year that truly had an identity, it would be the Rams. We knew who they were, we knew what they did, and we knew how they did it, and they were very successful at it. If the Rams have a better roster, but you both seem to think that Seattle's the better team, how do they match up when they play each other Thursday night?
Well, that's the thing about it. Can the Rams offense with Jared Goff, can they throw it to the flat, keep time possession? I had Dusty look up this stat, and Sean McVay, if he gets 29 minutes time of possession since he's been a head coach, Nick, he is 23-1. Not even winning time possession.
Just playing it even.
If I get to 29 minutes, that's his record, basically unbeaten. So now I know I'm not going to be able to run the ball that way. So my play action pass typically is deeper down the field. No, I need to go to a shorter, more West Coast type offense where I'm throwing the ball, let Jared Goff, because he doesn't have great arm strength, he has good arm strength, and he's accurate. Be able to pick the defense apart so that I can still keep that clock ticking, because that's their MO, and that defense, which is typically a little undersized, it can rest. But I don't believe that they're going to be able to run. Not only is Todd Gurley, not only does he have that knee that's not going to get better, offensive line right now, after being the last 2 years one of the top 5 that we've had, Pro Football Focus has them ranked as the worst offensive line. So not only Todd Gurley that you can look at that offensive line. They made a couple substitutions inside that line the last couple years, and it has not played the way that the head coach is used to getting the type of protection.
And the Rams have not been a great team since they left the field in that epic game against Kansas City. That game, now Kansas City scored a bunch of points, moved the ball on them, but that was the moment where Chris got real upset the next day. I remember it. Everyone's going to say the NFL's changing. Wait till December. We looked at that game as potentially, what man? You're going to have over-unders in the league of 60-plus points. Everyone's throwing the ball everywhere. Since then, the Rams haven't been great. Jared Goff has more turnovers than touchdowns. In the playoff run, the Rams were good but not great against Dallas. A lot of people thought if the right call is made, they lose the playoff game to New Orleans. And in the Super Bowl, they were awful. Now this year, so far, what have they done? Week 1 against Carolina. Yes, and you don't want to discredit wins, but we now know what Cam Newton was dealing with and what Carolina looked like the following week. Week 2 for the Rams after Carolina. They play New Orleans, who loses Drew Brees during that football game and has another brutal call go against them. Week 3 against Cleveland. If Cleveland just has a competent offensive game plan, we might be talking differently. And week 4 against a Tampa Bay team that if there's any team that should be ripe for the picking, it's a team that lost the previous week on a stomach punch missed field goal and then has to travel from Tampa Bay.
Extra points.
And 2 extra points from Tampa Bay to Los Angeles. And Tampa Bay jumped out on them 21-0. I don't want to act like the Rams are a bad football team because they're 3-1. They went to the Super Bowl last year.
No, they're not a bad team.
But they are not. If Coach Mangini were here, you know what he would say? You do not pick up where you left off the previous season. And right now, to my eye, through a month of football, they've been the 3rd best team in their division. San Francisco's been better. We just have forgotten about them because they had the early bye week.
Yep.
And Seattle's been better. We'll see if Seattle can continue it tomorrow night.
Thursday Night Football on Fox. Rams and Seahawks. Talk more about that coming up. On the other side, though, can the Packers take down the Cowboys without Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers' biggest weapon? That's next on First Things First.